See, Mom, you told me that I would never amount to anything if I kept on playing video games. Well, this movie is proof that that is an absolute lie. The Last Starfighter, released in 1984, and is directed by Nick Castle, who has also directed such films like The Boy Who Could Fly, Dennis the Menace, and Major Payne, and also plays Michael Myers in John Carpenter's Halloween. Like, that's freaking awesome. And this movie is starring Lance Guest, Dan O'Harely, Catherine Mary Stewart, and Robert Preston. And the reason why we're talking about The Last Starfighter today is because it was a PayPal recommendation and donation from a big contributor and supporter of this channel, Jeff Fry. Thank you again, once again, getting to all of your films that you sent over in your bundle. It's a nice mixture. Well, I guess majority of it is 80s, but we got some 60s and 70s stuff in there. Stuff that I've never seen before, like this movie. This is my first time watching The Last Starfighter. I don't know why I say it like that. I think it's like a mix of Christopher Walken and John Mulaney from Oh Hello on Broadway. I don't know, but I like how I say it, The Last Starfighter. So if anyone else out there also wants to be like Jeff and help support me and contribute to this channel, you can select the QR code that is in the bottom left corner of your screen right now. Send over your donation of $5 or more with your movie recommendation, and if I have access to it, I will watch it, review it, and give you a little shout out, just like what I did with Jeff Fry here. Alex Rogan is a teenager living in a trailer park who is a nice handyman to be around to help all the tenants, but usually finds himself at the park's restaurant playing an arcade game called Starfighter. Well, Alex has recently set the highest score on the game, and from out of nowhere, an alien ship comes flying in and abducts Alex, because since he has the highest score on this video game, that qualifies him to be an actual starfighter to help defend the frontier against Xur and the Kodan Armada. So Jeff, I'm realizing with your bundle that you're sending over to me, all of these 80s movies, these teenagers or young kids getting chosen or abducted or find themselves just in situations basically because they're smart with computers or they're good with video games. And because they're good with this technology that's not a very popular thing at this time, this is the 80s of course, they're the only ones that can help said problem from destroying the planet or the universe, therefore leading the audience watching this movie to believe that, wow, if I were to play video games all the time, or if I got really good with computers, I could eventually run this world. And now it's 2025, and look at where we are. Computers are literally running our world as we speak. So the message behind this movie is actually great because it makes sense. I think I also mentioned this. You also, Jeff, recommended the movie War Games, and that's a very similar topic here. And I love it. I absolutely love it. 80s was the time where we had the birth of the nerd, the geek, the computer geek, and then throughout the 90s, the 2000s, the 2010s, and now here in the 2020s, they're just ruling the world, and it's because of stories like this, where you can see the evolution, where it went from the jock to the nerd controlling everything. Oh, I love it. And I've heard so much about this movie. It's referenced in a whole bunch of, like, 90s action films. I love Ready Player One. It's one of my favorite books. So it's nice to finally get around to watching it, forcing myself to watch it for the first time, and it's a pleasant film. Definitely has inspiration from a lot of great sci-fi properties around this time, from the 60s, from the 70s, Star Trek, Star Wars, but it tries to make itself its own thing. I think it gets a little simplified once we get to the plot of defending and destroying the Armada and those evil people, the evil forces. But when we get to the human messages and the human character arc of Alex here, I actually really appreciate it. This movie is about branching out and trying something, going on an adventure. Because if you don't take a risk, if you don't take a chance, if you don't take that first step out your door, you're never going to grow. You're never going to go anywhere if that's what you want to do. If you want to stay put for your entire life, that's absolutely fine too. There's nothing wrong with that. But if you're going to complain, if you are going to hate yourself for not taking a chance, taking that trip randomly, or going on that adventure one afternoon, then it's stories like this that should inspire you to get out there and take that risk. Even Alex's girlfriend in this movie is hesitant to take that risk because here we're in this safe area. We're in this trailer park. We know everyone. There's a status quo. There is a routine to everything. It's nice. It's safe. I know things here. But there's that human characteristic of wanting to search and wanting to learn and wanting to branch out, to transform, to transfigure yourself into something totally different. I love that message. It's universal, and I think it's wonderful. Now, the villains in this movie are... I mean, can we be honest? They're pretty laughable, right? They really suck. You have Zur, I think, is the leader. He's the guy with the little tiny knife spear thing that says, I'm in control here, and yeah. And then we got the Armada officers who don't like him, but are using him to advance their evil plans. But then it never goes anywhere because the Last Starfighter wins, and as everything is blowing up, one of the officers looks to the first in command. It's like, what do we do? And he puts his visor down and says, we die. What? I gotta say, these are the worst villains ever, I think. But they do manage to take out almost all of the starfighters and the base where all of the jets and everything are housed. That's what makes Alex the Last Starfighter. And this movie, you can tell, is trying to do something completely different when it comes to visual effects. Instead of using a lot of practical stuff and tangible models and set pieces, we are relying solely on computer programs and CGI from the 1980s to render all of the space battles here. And if I was a child of the 80s and I watched this film, seeing the design and the CGI on screen, I would have thought, yeah, this is really cool. This is awesome. I've never seen anything like this before. The video games in the 80s, I would just have a little stick figure and I would be bouncing it back and forth, and I would be entertained by that on a small 6x6 screen. So to see the quality of CGI in this movie, I would have been blown away. Now, if you are someone from 2025 going back and watching this movie for the first time, looking at it, you can go, okay, yeah, clearly that's fake, and clearly it's all boxy, and it doesn't look good from today's standards, but you have to go easy on it. You have to look at it where it is at the time. These visual effects are revolutionary, and the visual effects and CGI that we have now only builds on previous years and previous projects' CGI, so the stuff we get now, we wouldn't have today without things like this from the 80s. The Last Starfighter, I think, is a wonderful story, at least when we have the human aspects. When we get to the alien and the space stuff, all of that's kind of hit or miss for me. It's kind of all out there, characters that I wasn't really connecting to. The recruiter, he has this sacrifice in here, and it didn't hit me at all. Of course, the villains are absolutely terrible. But when we get down to the human characteristics and the human messages that our human characters go through, I think that's very touching, and I think that's very impactful. I'm gonna give The Last Starfighter 3 out of 5 Blu-rays.
Not exactly what I had in mind, but not bad.
So guys, if you've seen The Last Starfighter, what did you think about it? Or if you've never seen it before and you stumbled across because of this video, then comment below and let me know what you thought about it. And if you like what you see here, if you like my take on movies, then hit the subscribe button and make sure you hit that bell. See you the next time I release my next movie review. So guys, I will see you next time on the channel, but in the meantime, be well, be good to each other, and go watch a movie. Take care, guys.